You know that feeling of burying the person you loved most in your life? Yeah, I had that feeling. I threw dirt on the casket. I cried. I felt my chest tighten. Except for one detail. My wife wasn't in there. And the worst part? She wasn't dead. She was living a new life 70 miles away, laughing in my face, spending my money, kissing someone else. But hold on, you need to hear this story from the beginning. My name is Roberto Mendez. I'm 52 years old and I own a used car dealership here in Richmond, Virginia. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, no. I started selling cars on the street at 22, pounding the pavement under the hot sun, earning tiny commissions, hearing no all day long. But I was hungry, you know. That drive to succeed that makes you wake up early and go to bed late. Today, 30 years later, I have a lot with 80 vehicles, 7 employees, and good business every month. I'm not rich, but I live well. I built everything with my own 2 hands. Every brick of this life was laid with sweat and blood. I married Mariana when she was 24 and I was 28. It was a Saturday in September at the local community hall, a simple but beautiful party. She wore a flowing white dress, her hair pinned up with little flowers. I thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world. We were together for 24 years. 24 years, you hear me? We had 2 kids, Lucas, who's 22 now, and Julia, who's 19. I thought I had a real family, you know? The kind of family you see in commercials. Dinners together, trips to the beach at the end of the year, conversations at the table. I believed we were happy. And before you ask, yes, this whole story is real, and I appreciate you being here to listen. Leave a like if you're enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel because there's a new story here every day. But getting back, because what I'm about to tell you sounds like a movie script, but it happened to me. 3 months ago, on a Thursday afternoon, I was at the dealership closing the sale of a 2019 F-150. Good customer, deal almost done, when my cell phone rang. It was a strange number, one of those from a hospital. I answered, a little wary. The voice on the other end was a nurse, serious tone. That tone that already prepares you for the worst. Mr. Roberto Mendez, are you the husband of Mariana Aparecida Mendez? I said yes, my heart already pounding. Sir, your wife was in a serious accident on I-95 near mile marker 285. You need to come to Richmond General Hospital urgently. I dropped everything, didn't even lock my office. I grabbed the car and sped off. The highway seemed endless. My head wouldn't stop. Where was she going? She told me she was going to the grocery store. It didn't add up. I got to the hospital with my legs shaking, ran to the reception, gave them her name. They took me to a small room, one of those rooms doctors use to give bad news. I sat down. The doctor came in, a man in his 50s, white coat, tired face. He didn't even sit down. He stood and dropped the bomb. Mr. Mendez, I regret to inform you that your wife did not survive her injuries. We did everything we could, but the impact was too severe. My condolences. I don't really remember what I felt right then. It was like the floor had disappeared from under my feet. My stomach turned to ice. I asked to see the body. He said it wasn't recommended, that the accident had badly disfigured her face. I insisted. He insisted I shouldn't. In the end, I accepted it because I was too destroyed to fight, you know? I called my kids. I called my brother-in-law, Fernando, Mariana's brother. Everyone rushed to the hospital. Fernando got there first. He was always close to us. Came to our house every weekend, was Lucas's godfather. A tall, strong guy, deep voice, the kind that makes you feel safe. He hugged me there in the hallway and said, "Calm down, brother-in-law. I'll take care of everything. You don't need to worry about a thing. I'll organize the wake, the burial, leave it to me." At that moment I thought, what a supportive brother. What a good family I have. How wrong I was. But look, for you to understand how we got to the most absurd part of this story, I need to tell you what the wake was like, because that's where the performance began. The horror show, you know. The wake was set for the next day, Friday, at the Good Shepherd Cemetery Chapel here in Richmond. Fernando organized everything with impressive efficiency. He chose the casket, hired the funeral home, ordered the wreaths, notified relatives. He arrived early and coordinated everything. Where to put the chairs, how to organize the guest book, everything. I was in a zombie state, just walking, sitting, standing, not processing anything. More than 200 people came by to offer their condolences. People I barely knew, old friends, clients from the dealership, neighbors, people from the gym where Mariana did Pilates. Everyone saying, "I'm so sorry, Roberto. She was so young. Life is just unfair." My daughter Julia was devastated, crying non-stop, holding on to me. My son Lucas stayed by his uncle Fernando's side the whole time, helping receive people, organizing details. I remember thinking, at least my kids are united. At least I have that. The casket was closed. Fernando had said, "Roberto, the accident disfigured her face badly. It's better for you to keep the beautiful image you have in your memory. Trust me, leave it closed." And I accepted. I was too devastated to question it. My mother-in-law, Clede, was sitting in the front row staring at the casket. But you know what's weird? She wasn't crying. She was sweating cold. Even with the air conditioning on, she kept wiping her forehead with a handkerchief. At the time, I thought it was shock, right? Her way of processing the pain. During the wake, I started to notice other strange things. Fernando couldn't stop looking at his phone. Every 10 minutes, he'd step out to take a call. He'd come back nervous, sweaty. One time, I heard him whispering in the hall, "Everything's under control. I said it's all under control." But control of what? I thought it was about the burial arrangements. And there was a moment that should have made me suspect everything. Around 7 at night, as it was getting dark, I stood up and went to the casket. I put my hand on that cold wood and thought, I need to see her one last time. I need to say a real goodbye. I started looking for the latch to open it. That's when Fernando appeared out of nowhere, grabbed my arm hard, the kind of grip that hurts, and said right in my ear, "For God's sake, Roberto, don't do this. Respect her memory. You don't want to have that horrible image in your head. Trust me." His tone wasn't a request. It was an order. It was almost a threat. I looked into his eyes and saw something I couldn't decipher at the time. It was fear. He was afraid. But of what? I gave in. I moved my hand away from the casket. I went back to my chair. People kept filing by, giving hugs, saying words that went in one ear and out the other. The night was long, endless. I slept sitting right there, waking up now and then to my own crying. On Saturday morning we held the burial. Grey sky, heavy atmosphere, the kind of day where even nature seems to be in mourning. We carried the casket to the grave. The priest said the prayers. They lowered the casket with those straps. And then it was time. The shovel of dirt. Everyone threw a little. When it was my turn, I grabbed that damp earth in my hand, looked down into that deep hole and threw it. I heard the sound of the dirt hitting the wood, and I swore. I swore right then that I was burying my life along with it, that nothing would make sense anymore. How wrong I was again. I went back home, our home, the house where we lived for 18 years, in the West Hampton neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, big backyard, a grill I built with my own hands. I walked in, and the silence was deafening. Her things were everywhere, her slippers near the bed, her hairbrush in the bathroom, the lotion she used on her vanity, her favorite mug in the kitchen. It was as if she could walk through the door at any moment, except she wouldn't. Not ever again, or so I thought. For 2 weeks I could barely work. I'd go to the dealership, sit in my office, stare at the computer, and see nothing. It was my partner, Paolo, who held down the fort. He handled the sales, closed the deals, managed the employees. I was a ghost just walking around, but then, life doesn't stop, right? The bills keep coming, the due dates arrive, the world turns. I started forcing myself to get back to normal, and part of that normal was organizing Mariana's documents, inventory, all that awful widower stuff. I went to the home office, opened the drawers, started sorting. Marriage certificate, property documents, bank statements. And that's when it happened. That's when the first piece of the puzzle fell into place. I found a statement for Mariana's bank account, an account she had in her name, which I knew existed, but never worried about because she used it for household things, groceries, stuff like that. I opened the statement. I looked at the balance. I blinked. I looked again. 687,000 euros. $340,000. My heart hammered. Where did this money come from? Mariana never worked outside the home. She took care of the house, the kids, did volunteer work at a non-profit 3 afternoons a week, but she never earned a salary. I looked at the statement more closely. Monthly deposits. $8,000 here, $12,000 there, $9,500. For the last 3 years, constant deposits. All coming from the same company. MF Consulting LLC. MF Consulting. Those letters hammered in my head. I didn't know it. Never heard of it. I Googled it. Nothing significant. A small company, no website, no social media. I went to the bank the next day. I asked to speak to the manager, showed him the death certificate, explained I was the widower and needed to understand the account activity. He was helpful, printed the full statement for the last 5 years. There it was. The deposit started exactly 3 years ago. March of 2022, always between the 5th and 10th of the month, amounts varying between $8,000 and $12,000. Total accumulated, with interest from the savings account, $340,000. I took those papers, went back to my car, sat in the driver's seat, and just stayed there, parked, holding those statements. My head was spinning, trying to find an explanation. An inheritance? No, her parents were simple people. An investment I didn't know about. Impossible. She didn't understand that stuff. What then? That's when I made a decision. I needed to know the truth. I called an old client from the dealership, Mr. Mario, who years ago had told me he knew a private investigator, a former police detective. I asked for the contact. I called him the same day. The guy answered with that gruff voice of someone who's seen a lot of ugly things. Claudio speaking. I explained the situation, and we set up a meeting at his office for the next day. Claudio's office was in an old building downtown, 3rd floor, suite 304. I got there, rang the bell, he opened up. A man of about 55, short, a bit of a belly, grey moustache, but his eyes were the kind that don't miss a thing. He offered me coffee. I sat in the chair across from his desk, and I told him everything. Mariana's death, the wake, the burial, and now this bank account with $340,000 that made no sense at all. I showed him the statements. He looked at it, jotted down some notes, and said, "Mr. Mendez, I'll be blunt. Money doesn't just appear out of nowhere. Either your wife had a source of income you didn't know about, or someone was putting money in her account. I'm going to investigate this company, MF Consulting. Give me a week." I paid him a $600 retainer. I left there with a pit in my stomach. That week didn't pass, I swear. Every day felt like 72 hours. I went to work on autopilot. I'd sell a car, talk to a customer, but my mind was far away. It was on MF Consulting. It was on the $340,000. It was trying to understand what the hell was going on. 7 days later, Claudio called me. "Mr. Mendez, you need to come in, I have information." His voice was different, more serious, almost worried. I dropped everything and went. When I walked into his office, he had a folder on his desk, a thick folder. He motioned for me to sit and started talking, slowly, choosing his words. "Mr. Mendez, MF Consulting is a company owned by Fernando Mendez Ferreira, your brother-in-law." I felt my blood run cold. Fernando? The Fernando who organized the wake? The Fernando who hugged me at the hospital? The Fernando who was my son's godfather? That Fernando was putting money into my wife's account? Why? Claudio continued. "His company does financial management consulting, has some small clients, nothing major, but in the last 3 years, it's had a significant increase in revenue. And these deposits to your wife, they weren't a salary. There are no invoices, no employment contract, nothing. It was clean money entering her account with no legal justification." I asked, "But why would he do that?" Claudio took a deep breath and let it out. "Money laundering. Your brother-in-law was diverting money from somewhere and using your wife's account to wash it. She was his front. A front. My wife was a front." I felt the anger rise, but it wasn't just anger. It was incomprehension. Why would she agree to this? Why would she hide it from me? What else was she hiding? I said to Claudio, "Go deeper. I want to know where this money Fernando was diverting came from, and I want to know if there's anything else wrong with all this. I don't care what it costs, investigate everything." He agreed. I paid him another $1,000. I left there aimlessly, just drove without a destination for an hour, trying to get my thoughts in order. And that's when I started to remember things. Little things that didn't catch my attention at the time, but now they made sense. I remembered 3 years ago when Mariana started that volunteer work. She said she was going to help at a non-profit for underprivileged kids, 3 afternoons a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. I thought it was wonderful. I even encouraged her. "I'm so proud, honey, you taking care of those in need." And she would smile, grab her purse, and leave. But was she really going to a non-profit? Or was she going to meet Fernando to work out the details of the money laundering? I also remembered about 6 months ago, at a Sunday lunch at my mother-in-law's house. I was there, Mariana, the kids, Fernando and his wife, Patricia. We were talking about the renovation I was going to do at the dealership, a big investment. I was going to spend about $150,000. Fernando chimed in, kind of laughing. "Roberto, are you sure it's worth investing that much? What if the business doesn't pan out?" At the time, I thought he was just being cautious, you know. A brother-in-law worried about his brother-in-law. But now, looking back, it was something else. He was testing me. trying to find out if I had money saved, how much I had, where it was invested. And another thing, about 8 months ago, my mother-in-law, Clede, pulled me aside at her house after a Sunday lunch. She said to me in that quiet voice, "Roberto, take good care of Mariana, okay? She's been acting different. I think she's sad about something." I didn't think much of it at the time. I figured it was just a mother being worried. But now, could Clede have known something? Was she trying to warn me? These memories ate at me. I'd spend my nights lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every moment, trying to find the clues I'd missed. How did I not see it? How was I so blind? 2 weeks after that first conversation, Claudio called me again. This time his voice was different, more tense. He said, "Mr. Mendes, you need to come here, urgently, and prepare yourself, because what I'm about to show you is not easy to digest." My heart hammered. I went straight there. I got there, ran up the 3 flights of stairs, burst into the office. Claudio was standing with his back to me, looking out the window. He turned, looked me in the eye and said, "Your wife is alive." The world stopped. I heard the words, but my brain couldn't process them. I repeated, "What do you mean, alive?" He opened the folder on the desk and started pulling out photos. Photos of a woman entering an apartment, a woman with blonde hair, sunglasses, workout clothes. But I knew that walk, that body, that posture. It was Mariana. No, it can't be. My voice came out weak. Claudio put down more photos. Mariana at the supermarket carrying bags, Mariana going into a pharmacy, Mariana going for a run in a park, all dated, photos from the last 10 days. Mariana alive, Mariana fine, Mariana 70 miles away in Charlottesville, living a new life while I cried over an empty grave. I sat down, my legs gave out, my head spun. I started to sweat cold. Claudio offered me water. I drank it, tried to breathe, tried to understand. I asked, my voice choked, She faked her own death?" Claudio nodded and continued. "The apartment where she's staying is rented under the name Mariana Ferreira Silva. Middle name changed, but her social security number was used on a check with the property manager. She's been there for 2 months, since a week before the accident. That accident never happened. It was all staged. I couldn't hold it in. I threw up. Right there in the trash can in Claudio's office. I threw up from nerves, from rage, from shock. He gave me a paper towel, waited for me to compose myself, and he continued. "There's more, Mr. Mendes. She's not alone." He showed me more photos. Mariana on the apartment balcony, with her arms around another woman, the 2 of them kissing. A real kiss, not a friendly hug. A couple's kiss. The other woman was a brunette, younger, must have been 35, 38. Claudio explained. "Her name is Camila Andrade dos Santos, 38, a personal trainer. They met in a running group 2 years ago. From what I could gather, they've been together ever since." So that was it. My wife of 24 years was living with her lover. She had faked her own death to run away from me, to be free, to take Fernando's money and live a new life. And me? I was just the fool who cried at her funeral. I stayed locked in my house for 3 days. I didn't answer the phone. I didn't open the door. Julia got worried, banged on the door, yelled, cried outside, but I didn't open it. I couldn't face anyone. I needed to process this alone. I cried. I cried a lot, but it wasn't just sadness. It was humiliation. It was rage. It was betrayal multiplied by 1,000. On the 3rd day, I made a decision. I was going to see this through to the end. I went back to Claudio's office and said, "I want to know everything. Who else is involved? How they planned it? How much money is involved? I don't care what it costs. Investigate everything. I paid him another $17,000. In total, I spent $25,000 on the investigation, but it was worth every penny. Claudio dug deep. Over the next 20 days, he uncovered the whole truth, and the truth was worse than anything I could have imagined. Mariana and Fernando had been planning everything for over a year. The goal wasn't just to run off with her lover. It was to destroy me. It was to get me out of the picture so they could take my assets. I had assets. I wasn't a millionaire, but I had built something. 3 properties besides the house we lived in. 2 apartments here in Richmond that I rented out for $2,500 each, and a beach house in Virginia Beach, valued at $580,000. The dealership, according to the last balance sheet I'd done, was worth $1.2 million. In total, my net worth was around $2.3 million. Their plan was this. With Mariana's fake death, I would be emotionally fragile. Fernando, as the dedicated brother-in-law, would get closer to help manage the businesses. He had already been manipulating my kids for years, slowly turning them against me, making them think I was too strict, that I didn't pay attention to the family, that I only thought about work. Lucas, my own son, was already on his side. The idea was that eventually I'd be pushed out of my own company. I'd be left alone, maybe even fall into a depression, and they would take over everything. Mariana would stay dead for a while, collect her life insurance, which was $200,000, and then, after 2 or 3 years, when everything had calmed down, she would return with a new identity or just disappear forever with Camilla, living off the laundered money and the insurance. But there was another layer to this story. The money Fernando was diverting wasn't just from his business. It was from my father-in-law's inheritance. Mariana and Fernando's father had passed away 5 years ago and left an $800,000 inheritance, divided between the 2 kids and the widow, Clade. Fernando was the executor of the estate, and he had been slowly siphoning off his mother's and sister's shares ever since. Mariana knew. She was an accomplice. The $340,000 in her account was part of this theft. When Claudio showed me all the documents, all the screenshots of WhatsApp conversations he managed to access by hacking Mariana's old phone that she'd left at home, all the transfer receipts, I just collapsed. Not from sadness, from rage. A deep, cold rage that gives you an absurd amount of clarity. I gathered everything, every paper, every photo, every receipt. I put it in a briefcase, and I went to my lawyer's office, Dr. Mauricio Andrade, a criminal attorney, 28 years of experience, office downtown, big room with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. I got there on a Thursday morning, no appointment, and told the secretary, "I need to see him. It's urgent." She saw my face and didn't argue. I walked into Dr. Andrade's office, threw the briefcase on his desk and said, "Read." He opened it. He started leafing through. He was silent for about 15 minutes, just turning pages, reading, looking at the photos. When he finished, he took off his glasses, rubbed his eyes and said, "Roberto, this is severe conspiracy to defraud, identity theft, embezzlement, forgery of public documents, money laundering. I can pin 6, 7 different felonies on them. You'll get everything back and they are going to prison, all of them." I asked, "Did my kids know?" He looked at some specific documents and said, "Lucas knew. There are messages between him and Fernando in the screenshots. Julia didn't know anything from the looks of it. Lucas, my son, my firstborn, the boy I taught to ride a bike, who I took to his first day of school, whose private college I paid for, he knew his mother was alive, and he let me cry at her funeral. He let me throw dirt on an empty casket. He let me suffer while he laughed in my face with his uncle." Dr. Andrade continued, "I'm filing a criminal complaint right now, today. I'm going to request a search warrant for the apartment where she's staying, a freeze on all bank accounts for Fernando, Mariana, and Lucas. I'm going to request an exhumation of the body for forensics, and I'm going to request pre-trial detention for everyone involved. This will be fast, Roberto. Under seal, no one will know until the police knock on their doors." I agreed. I signed everything he put in front of me. I left there with a strange feeling. It wasn't relief. It wasn't happiness. It was determination, coldness. I was going to see this through to the end. It took another 15 days of preparation. Dr. Andrade worked fast. He got the warrants, got the accounts frozen, organized everything with the state police. And on a Tuesday, 47 days after the fake funeral, at 6 a.m. the operation went down. The state police banged on the door of the apartment in Charlottesville. 3 cruisers, 6 officers. Mariana opened the door. She was in a bathrobe, messy hair, sleepy-eyed. When she saw the police, she fainted, dropped to the floor, literally fainted. Camilla tried to escape through the back window, but there were police there too. She was detained. At the same time, another team arrested Fernando at his house here in Richmond. He tried to resist, yelled that it was absurd, that he was going to sue everyone. It did no good. They cuffed him and took him away. Lucas was brought in for questioning that same day. He showed up acting like he had no idea what was going on, but when they showed him the evidence, he fell apart. He confessed everything, said his uncle had promised him that after I was out of the picture, they would run the dealership together and he'd be a partner, that he'd earn way more money than the allowance I gave him, that I was an absent father who only thought about work, that I didn't deserve what I had. Hearing that hurt more than anything. Julia went into shock when she found out. She really didn't know anything. She was called to the station as a witness, arrived thinking it was about her mother's accident, and when the detective explained that her mother was alive, that it had all been staged, she fainted too. They had to call an ambulance. She was hospitalized for 2 days for observation. When she got out, she came straight home and hugged me. We just stood there for an hour, both of us crying, without saying a word. Because what was there to say, right? There were no words for that. The exhumation of the casket happened on a Wednesday. I didn't go, I couldn't bear it. But Dr. Andrade was there observing. He called me after. Roberto, there was no body. There were rocks, bags of sand, wrapped in white cloth to give it weight. So when people carried the casket, they'd feel something was in there. Hearing that made me nauseous all over again. I had thrown dirt on top of rocks. I had cried while hugging a casket full of sand. Dr. Andrade kept digging and found out how they got the fake death certificate. There was a doctor involved. Dr. Enrique Sales, 58, a general practitioner, worked at a private hospital. Fernando had paid him $50,000 to sign the false certificate. The doctor confessed everything when the police showed up, said he was in debt, needed the money, that he regretted it. But regret doesn't erase the crime, does it? The criminal trial was over in 3 months. It was fast because the evidence was irrefutable. There were photos, documents, confessions, everything. Fernando got 8 years in prison. Mariana got 6 years. Her sentence was a little lighter because the judge considered she was under her brother's influence. Lucas, for his participation and conspiracy, got 2 years in a work release program. The doctor lost his medical license and got 5 years in prison. Camilla, the lover, was charged with harboring a fugitive, but since she didn't know about the complete fake funeral charade, she just got 1 year of probation. I also filed for a contested divorce. I requested the annulment of all acts performed after the date of the fake death. I managed to recover the $340,000 that was in Mariana's account. More than that, I managed to freeze the $180,000 Fernando still had from the stolen inheritance. The court ordered Fernando to pay me $250,000 in punitive damages. I haven't seen a cent of it to this day, because he has nothing left. But they seized everything he had, his house, car, bank account. He'll get out of prison with nothing. As for the dealership, I got an injunction to prevent any third-party interference in the business. Lucas had 10% of the shares because I had given them to him when he turned 18, a coming-of-age present. I filed a suit to annul that gift based on his fraud and breach of trust. I won. Today, the company is 100% mine again, and I'm keeping it that way. And you know what else I did? I sold the house. That house in West Hampton where we lived for 18 years. I couldn't set foot in there anymore. Every room reminded me of her. The bedroom where we slept, the kitchen where she pretended to make me breakfast before I went to work, the living room where we watched movies as a family. It was all a lie. It was all a performance. I sold it for $680,000. Closed the deal in 2 weeks. I took the money and bought a new apartment in the museum district facing Bird Park. 2 bedrooms, 900 square feet, 10th floor, big balcony with a view of the park. A new place. No memories, no ghosts. Julia lives with me. She dropped out of business school and started studying psychology. She said she wants to understand the human mind, understand how people we love can stab us in the back. She's helping me rebuild. We go to therapy together once a week. She also goes to individual sessions. The psychologist said Julia has PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, because of everything that happened. But she's getting better, slowly. As for Lucas, I cut ties, completely. He called me from the correctional center 3 times. I never answered. He sent a letter. I tore it up without reading it. Julia asked me to give him a chance, said he was young, that he was manipulated by his uncle. But I can't, you know. I can't look at him and not see the betrayal. I can't forget that he knew his mother was alive and let me suffer. Some betrayals are unforgivable, and this is one of them. Clede, my mother-in-law, came to apologize 2 months after everything. She knocked on the door of my new apartment on a Sunday morning. I opened it. She looked ancient, her hair completely white, deep dark circles, rail thin. She said she didn't know anything, that Fernando had hidden the theft of the inheritance from her, that Mariana had lied about the volunteer work. She said she felt guilty, that she should have suspected something. I told her, Clede, you're not to blame for what your children did, but I can't look at you anymore without remembering that family, without remembering everything that happened. I'm sorry, she cried. I closed the door. I never saw her again. And Mariana? She's in a work release program now. She works at a clothing factory during the day, sleeps at the correctional facility at night. She's already served 1.5 years of her sentence. She sent me a letter 6 months ago. It arrived at the dealership office. The secretary handed it to me. I opened it. I read it. It was a plea for forgiveness. 5 pages, handwritten. She said she regretted it, that she had been weak, that her brother had convinced her I would never find out, that she could have a new, happy life, that she didn't know it would hurt me so much. She said she truly loved me at the beginning, but that over the years she realized she was gay, that she couldn't live the lie anymore, that meeting Camilla was liberating. She said she would understand if I never forgave her, but that she had to try. I didn't answer. I put the letter in a drawer and didn't answer. Because there is no answer, you know. What was I supposed to say? It's okay, you faked your own death, made me cry at your funeral, stole my money, manipulated my son, destroyed my life, but since you discovered you're gay, it's all good. No, it doesn't work like that. If she wanted to come out of the closet, she could have asked for a divorce. If she wanted money, she could have asked for her share. But no, she chose the path of betrayal, of lies, of humiliation, and now she has to live with the consequences. Today, 11 months after I buried an empty casket, this is my routine. I wake up at 6 a.m., make coffee, wake Julia up, we have breakfast together. At 7, I leave for the gym, work out for an hour, come home, shower, and at 9, I'm at the dealership. I work until 6 p.m. I come home, have dinner with Julia, we watch a series or talk about our day, and at 10, I go to sleep. Simple, predictable. But it's a life at peace. I'm not angry. I swear I'm not. I have deep disappointment, I have sadness for the lost time, I'm disgusted by those who betrayed me. But anger, that corrosive anger that doesn't let you live, I don't have that anymore. I went to therapy too. My psychologist, Dr. Renato, helped me process everything. He told me something I'll never forget. Roberto, forgiving doesn't mean having these people back in your life. Forgiving means you stop carrying the weight of your anger at them. You forgive for you, not for them. And that's what I did. I forgave in the sense that I no longer dwell on it. I no longer lose sleep over it. But forget? I will never forget. And have them back in my life? Never. I learned a few things in these 11 months. I learned that you can share a bed with someone for 24 years and not truly know them. I learned that blood doesn't mean loyalty. I learned that money reveals people's true character. I learned that the worst death isn't of the body, it's of trust. Because you can bury a body and move on. But trust, when trust dies, there is no resurrection. Mariana may be biologically alive, breathing, walking, working, but to me she's dead. She died that day I threw dirt on a casket full of rocks. The difference is that this time the death was real. The woman I loved died. The family I thought I had died. The innocent Roberto who believed in till death do us part died. And you know the craziest part? Sometimes when I'm lying in my new bed, in my new apartment, staring at the ceiling, I think, was it worth it? All this suffering, all this pain, was it worth it? And the answer is yes, because I found out who I really am. I found out I'm stronger than I imagined. I found out I can rebuild. I found out I have a wonderful daughter who stood by my side. I found out I don't need a big family to be happy. I need a true family. And even if it's just me and Julia now, it's enough. It's real. It's true. There's a saying that Mr. Mario, that old client, told me when he found out about everything. Roberto, revenge is a dish best served cold, but justice is served right on time. And that's what happened. It wasn't revenge. It was justice. I didn't invent evidence. I didn't frame anyone. I just showed the truth. And the truth destroyed them all on its own. Today I sleep soundly. I don't have nightmares. I don't wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. I wake up rested, ready for another day. And that, for someone who's been through what I've been through, is a victory. Because they tried to destroy me. They tried to take my dignity, my assets, my peace, but they didn't succeed. I'm still here, standing, rebuilt. And them? They're in prison, or destroyed, or disappeared from my life. And before I finish, I want to tell you one thing. If you're going through something similar, if you're discovering that people you love are betraying you, using you, deceiving you, don't stay silent. Don't accept it. Don't normalize it. Investigate. Seek the truth. And when you find it, act. Not with violence, not with revenge, but with justice. Use the law. Use the mechanisms that society gives you, because the truth always wins. It might take time, but it wins. And to you who are listening to me right now, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for staying until the end, for listening to my story, for giving me your attention for all this time. If you liked it, if this story touched you in some way, leave a like down below. Comment what you thought, if you would have done things differently, if you think I was too harsh or if I was fair. I want to know your opinion. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now. There are new stories here every day. Real stories from real people who went through difficult situations and managed to overcome them. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. And be at peace. Because in the end, the person with a clear conscience, who acts with integrity, who seeks truth and justice, that's the person who sleeps well at night. And there isn't enough money in the world to buy a good night's sleep. A hug to all of you. See you in the next video.